Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. My name is Mishal Badruddin, and I'm a member under the Aga Khan Economic Planning Board for United Arab Emirates and the region. On behalf of the chairman, I would like to welcome you all and thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to join today's SkillUp webinar session on data analysis with Microsoft Power BI Part 2. We are delighted to present today's webinar as part of our two-part series, which will walk you through the fundamentals of data science and teach you how to go from Microsoft Excel workbooks to creating stunning dashboards with Microsoft Power BI. During today's session, you will learn further how to use Power BI's business analytics tools to analyze data and share insights with your team. It is a privilege to welcome back our speaker today for today's session, Shahzeb Nayani. Shahzeb is a qualified chartered accountant and a certified financial modeling and valuation analyst. Having worked extensively across a variety of sectors, he has used MS Excel for over 10 years for simulations, modeling, and financial analytics. Shahzeb loves sharing his Excel knowledge to help others learn and advance in their careers. Once again, thank you, Shahzeb, for giving us your valuable time. I now hand it over to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. So welcome back, everyone. We will continue from where we left yesterday. Now, before we jump into the real action, I just want to give you a quick recap what we covered yesterday. It'll be just a quick recap for people who attended yesterday, and it'll just give an idea to people who couldn't attend yesterday what was covered. So we just covered very high-level fundamentals on data science and business intelligence. What are the tools which are available for BI, particularly what is Power BI and why one should learn Power BI, both from a business perspective as well as for professional development. We did a hands-on exercise which covered the entire workflow of Power BI, from loading data to manipulating the data or transforming the data, and then doing some basic visuals to present the data in a more visual manner. So today we are going to do a slightly more complicated example. I'll try to explain you to the best of my abilities. Wherever I feel that things are very essential for you to learn as a professional, I'll try and cover all. So in order to do that, you should have received the files already by email yesterday or the day when you registered. There should be another folder which is example 2 day 2. So we are going to use the files within that, and we will just now jump right into action. I would suggest that those of you who already have installed Power BI, if you can follow along, it will be very good, so that it will, if you have any questions while you're doing it, we can address them. And if at all, for some reason, you are not able to do it now, you can just keep notes and probably do your practice later on. As Michelle was mentioning earlier, we'll try and get the recording also available to you guys. So let's just jump into Power BI, and Michelle, just confirm when you are able to see the BI window.
Yes, I can see the BI window.
Okay, fine. So I'm assuming everybody will be able to look at it. Okay, so before we start today's example, there's one small setting that I would want you guys to do on BI. This is just for this exercise particularly, in order to make sure that we all are on the same page and there are no formatting problems. So I would want you guys to go to the File tab and go to Options and Settings and go to Options. Okay, so when you go to Options, you'll see there's another sub bar at on the left hand side, which is Current File. Just select Data Load, and there's this box called Auto Detect New Relationships after data is loaded. Just deselect this. And second, you go to the regional settings on the left pane, and you change from United Kingdom to United States. This is just to ensure that the date formats are consistent, because everybody could be using different regional formats. So just do this and press OK. All right. So after we have done that, we'll start looking through the files that you already have. There's the changes that I've just done now. There's this box that will start appearing here, which is apply changes. Just click on apply changes to make sure that the things that we have just changed in our settings have taken effect. So once this is done, we'll click on get data. And today the files are not Excel files, the files are CSV files instead. So go to text/CSV column under get data and select this. So once you have selected this, you can just pick up the customer's file from here and click open. Okay, so as we discussed yesterday, when you load in a file, it shows you a navigator window, which basically gives you a preview of the data. And when you have to amend things within the data, you will just click the transform data. So we'll just do transform data. What we are going to do today is we're going to cover a little more on the operations that are available within the Power Query Editor, the backend of Power BI, where you are able to play with the data. And we'll try and explore some more options that are available. All right, so first and foremost, when you get the data loaded, like always, just look through the data to see if the data looks all right, there's nothing unusual, and the formats look okay. For the purpose of this exercise, the formats have been preset already, so I don't think there's going to be any errors or issues with the format, so we can just go on from here. So we are going to look through some options today, or some functionalities which are available within BI when it comes to transforming data, right? So this is our customer master or customer database. Typically in any business, you would also have a customer or a supplier database, right? So what we are going to do on this customer database is we're just going to explore some of the text functionalities that are available to us, and we will just try and play with this. So, for example, this prefix, first name and last name, all of this appears to be in caps. I don't like this. I want to change this. So what I can do is I can go to transform. And when you go to transform, it means that you want to amend the existing data whenever you use the transform tab, right? You can see that here there is something called text column. What I want to do from here is I will just go to format and I will just say capitalize each word so it looks and appears nice. So I'm just going to do this, right? So you can see when I did this, it added a step here and it just changed all of this, right? One question is, how do you select multiple columns at once? Is either you can keep pressing Control and click, or alternatively, you select the first one, keep pressing Shift, and select the one up to whatever column you want. So you can do that, right? So this is the first thing that I wanted to do, and I've done that. The other thing that I want to do now is, for example, I feel that this is not really, I don't want these three columns appearing. I want the entire name coming together, right? For example, I want a full name field, right? But I do not want to amend the existing field. I want another column which shows the full name. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to add column. And there is a section which is within this from text area. You will see that there's one column which is one non-functionality here, which is merge columns. So after you've selected these three, you will click merge columns. And it's going to open a small pop-up box. It will say that, okay, it's going to merge it, but what's the separator that you want? Do you want no separators? It's going to look weird if there are no separators. I'm just going to select space. This means that it's going to create spaces between the three columns that we're selecting. And I want to rename the column to full name, right? And once I click OK, you will see that on the far right hand, it has created another column which is full name, right? So this looks nice and easy to manipulate and easy to look through, right? So this is just another thing that you could probably do using the text functionalities, right? So just to give you an example of the other things and other functions which are available particularly when it comes to playing with text, right? So this is our first query that we have done now, and I don't want to do anything else on this. So I'm just going to click close and apply and move out of here. So once I click close and apply, it's going to take a couple of seconds and take me back to my main BI front end. Okay, so now that you have done it, what you are going to see, you will see on your main BI page that you have a new table appearing here. When you expand, you can see the fields also coming here. You can see on your data section that there is a table which is appearing, the data that you have loaded. And if you go to your relationships or modeling area, you will see that there is one table which is appearing now, right? Now, let's say I forgot to do some more changes. How do I go back to my edit section, right? What I can do is I can select this table from here and I can again click transform data. So it's going to take me back to my backend, right? If I've forgotten to do something. Let's try to explore one more thing within this text function, right? So let's scroll a little bit to the right and you will see that there's an email address coming. Now within this email address, let's say I do not want the full email address coming here and I only want to look at the user ID. What I can do is I can add another column here and I can say extract information text before the delimiter. Now, what's a delimiter? Delimiter is a place before or after which you want the information to be extracted out. So in this case, my delimiter or the place before which I want all the information is the @ sign. So I'm just going to put an @ sign and I will just say, okay. And when I do this, you'll see that there is another step added here. And on the right hand side, you will see that there is only the username that is now appeared. I don't want this to be named text before delimiter. So I'm just going to double click and I will just say user ID. And you will click OK, right? There's one more thing that you can do is, for example, within the email address, I now want the domain name or the website name that you see, but I do not want the and I do not want the .com. So what I can do is I can again go to add column here and I can go to extract and I can say text between delimiters, right? So my start delimiter is the @ sign. And what's my end delimiter? It's the .com. So I'm just going to type in this and I'll click OK. So what it does is it's going to create another column right here and it's just mentioning text between delimiters, right? I can rename this and I can say domain name, right? Now, for example, I do not like the feel of it and I want to change it in such a manner that I can see all caps and I don't want to see this dash coming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and I'll go again to transform tab. The reason I'm now selecting transform is because I want to amend an existing column, right? I'll select transform, I'll go to text and I'll say format and I want to capitalize each word. When I do this, the A gets capitalized and the W gets capitalized. The other thing which I want to do now is I don't want these dashes in between. So I'm again going to select this column and you will see that there is within transform section, apart from the text, number, date, and time, you'll see there's one section called any column, right? Within this any column, I can select replace values and just click here. And the value that I do not want is a dash. So I'm just going to put in a hyphen here, value to find. And the value that I want to replace it with is a space. So I'm just going to press space bar. So it's going to create a space. When I click OK, you can see that the hyphen went away and the space came in between. And it also created another step for me for history purposes, right? So it looks now nice and clean. And That is it that I want to do now on this data set. There's nothing else at the moment that I want to do now. So once I'm done, I'm just going to click close and apply and go back to my front end. So again, it's going to take a few seconds and it is going to update the data, what we have, the changes that we have done. Okay, fine. So now everything is done. You can see that it appears here, right? It appears here, and it also appears here, right? It's appearing in all the places, and you can see all the extra fields that you created are also coming in here, right? Let's try to load another data set and try to explore some more functionalities. So again, from my front end, I'm just going to select the CSV, and this time I'm going to load in the products file. Okay, so when I've loaded the products file, you will again see the navigator window, and I'm again going to click transform data. Okay, so once I've loaded the transform data, I can see that the formats have been picked up automatically by Power BI. There are certain functions that I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play along and you guys can then see. So let's assume that I want to look at this product key here and I want to sort it. So there's option of sorting it by descending or by ascending. You can do either of them. Let's just pick up descending. So it's just going to sort it by descending or ascending, whatever you want to do, right? So this was just to show you, I don't want this to be a permanent thing. So I'm just going to delete this step. Okay. Another thing that you can do is, for example, if you feel that the number that is appearing here is not really appropriate because there's a lot of decimal places. I want this to be a number, but I want this to be rounded down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and this by pressing Control. I'm going to go to the Transform tab. And within the Transform tab, you will see that there's a number column in here, right? Within the number column, you will see there's a rounding section. So I'm just going to say round. And once I do this, it's going to show me a small box. And I will just say, I want this to be rounded to 2 decimal places. So I'm just going to say 2 and I'll click OK. You will see there's one more step that has been added. And there is now these fields which are appearing to be in 2 decimal places, right? Let us try to do another thing. Let us say that before even loading the data, I want to do some high-level analysis. That what's the average price? What's the maximum price, right? If on the outset, I just want to get an understanding of the data, what can I do, right? I'm just going to pick up product price. I'm going to select this column and I'll again go back to transform column. And I'm just going to select statistics within the numbers tab. And I will just pick up average. So I'm just going to say average. When I pick up average, it shows that the average price of the product says $714, right? This is just for my understanding. When I'm looking through the data, I can do these kind of processes to understand and establish the nature of the data, right? But again, I don't want this to be a permanent thing. This is just for my understanding. So I'm just going to click cross and go back. Okay. There's one more thing that you can possibly do also is, for example, I want to understand how many unique products do I deal in, right? So for example, I'll go to product name. I'll again go to transform tab. But now you will see that the numbers column is active, but I cannot do anything else. I can see the statistics function still active, right? So because this is the text, you cannot do a sum, minimum, maximum whatsoever. You can just count, right? So when you count distinct values, it's going to give you the unique values. So when I clicked unique values, it showed me that I have 293 different types of products, right? So again, you could do these type of processes just to understand the information or understand the data before you actually start loading, right? So let's just cross it because I don't want this to be a permanent thing. You could do another final thing that we can also do is, for example, I want to pick up the product price and I want to identify a discounted price. That, let's say, in the peak season, I am normally giving a 10% discount. So how do I put a calculated column which actually shows me what is going to be the discounted price, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another column, and within add column, you will see that there is a section under the numbers section, which is the standard section. I'm just going to click this and say multiply. And I'm just going to say that I want this to be multiplied by 90%, right? Because I want to show that I have given a 10% discount. So I'm just going to say 0.9 and I'll click OK. When I do this, it shows that, okay, there is a multiplication column that has been added, but you don't want this to be a multiplication thing. You just want to say discounted price. So you can just double click and rename this. Right? And just the way we did these, we could also round this off. So I'm just going to select this, go back to transform, and go back again to rounding. And I'm going to select 2 decimal places for consistency. Right? So that's about it. This is just to give you an idea about the numbers functions which are available within the back end of Power BI, the manipulation or cleanup that you can do, or additional fields that you can add. So once you're done with all of this, you can just click close and apply.
Shahzeb, can you show us how you added the discounted column again?
Sure, I can repeat that step. You'll have to give a couple of seconds. Okay, fine. So I have to now go back. So I will go to this section, which is the modeling section, and I'll go to my products. I'll select this and I'll just say transform data, and I'll go to transform. Okay. So from here, I'm going to select my products table. And on the right hand side, I added this. I'm going to delete the last 3 steps. Right? And I'm back to where I started. So what I actually did was I picked up product price, and I wanted to show a price which was 10% lower than this. In other words, 90% of the normal selling price, right? So what I did was, because I want an additional column, I am going to go to add column, and I'm going to select this standard section within the numbers area. Once I select standard, I am going to use the multiply command. And I want to multiply this number by 0.9, which is 90%, right? And I'm going to click OK. And it gave me a discounted price here, right? Okay. Again, we are going to do the other 2 steps. I don't want this to be named multiplication. I am going to say this is discounted price. And I'm again going to round this down to 2 decimal places.
Shahzeb, just a question related to this. Can we make the discount factor a dynamic factor so that you can see the impact in real time? For instance, if you want to reduce it by 70%, 80%?
You could do that, but there is a what if analysis kind of a thing, which normally does not appear here. It's more of a visualization thing. So it's not really like Excel, where you can just put in a field where you can just change that digit and it changes on its own. So what you could probably do is you can just delete the step and do it again. It's not going to take too long, right? It's a fairly easy thing to do. It's not going to be too big of a problem.
Okay, and can you add custom formulas over here, or is it only from the options that are available in the standard?
You can add custom formulas here, and we're going to see custom formulas when we go back to the front end of Power BI. Okay. Normally, the thing is, certain formulas are fairly easy to put in, but unlike Excel, if you want to go for custom formulas, there is a syntax that you have to follow, which is altogether a different programming language. So if you want to go one level up, you want to learn the advanced features within Power BI, you could always go and learn the DAX syntax, if at all you feel the need to go into advanced functionalities. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back. And for now, this is it. What I'm going to do next is we are going to load another table and play a little bit with that also. Now, let us go back to our front end and load another table. I'm going to pick up CSV again, and I'm going to pick up sales 2017. And I'm going to click OK. All right. So now, again, I can see the navigator window, and I'm going to go to transform data. Okay, so you can see that you have order date, stock date, order number, product key, customer key, territory, blah, 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 right? So you have all of this. The format appears to be all right. I don't wish to change a lot of things here, but I want to show you some more functionalities which are particular with the date area within Power BI. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up order date, and I'm going to go and to add column. When you go to add column, there's one section which is called date and time, right? Now, in some cases, in some industries, particularly retail, you would want to know your sales or your profit or your number of orders on certain days, dates, months, whatsoever. So what you could probably do is you select this order date, go to the date section, and let's say you want to know the name of the day. So what it's going to do is it's going to add a column here, and it's going to show you the day name, right? By selecting the order date again, you could add other fields. For example, within the day, I don't want anything else from the day. Let's say on the week, I want to say, what's the start of the week? So it's going to show me the start of the week as 1st January 2017, which is a Sunday, right? You could do another thing. For example, you can pick up the month. So I'm just going to say, I want the name of the month. So again, it's going to add the name of the month. And one last thing that you can also do is go here and you can pick up the year, or for example, the start of the month. So there are as many functionalities that are available. Whatever you feel suits your requirements, you can always add. So let's add year also. So what it's actually doing is it's using all of this base data, and it extracts the relevant information, and it creates extra columns for you for your analysis purposes, right? So that's about it. When it comes to doing basic data manipulation, there are a lot of functionalities which are available at the minute, but we're not going to go into everything. We are just going to do one more thing, which is a conditional column for you guys to understand. And then we can go to our normal relationship or data modeling section. Right, so within the sales table, for example, if I go to order quantity, and I can see that their order quantity is either 1, 2, 3, whatsoever. I can see there are multiple numbers appearing, right? It's 1, 2, 3, whatsoever. Sometimes what happens is when you open up a filter, Power BI is going to give you this small error list, maybe incomplete, which means that it does not show you the preview of the entire data to save time and memory. But when you click load more, it's going to load all the data and show you, right? So in this situation, we only have 1, 2, and 3. But in a larger data set, you could have, right? So what I want to do is I want to add a conditional column. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say add column, and I'll go to conditional column. What's a conditional column? A conditional column is based on a certain condition, and it gives you a desired answer based on that, right? It's very similar to the Excel functionality of if formula, right? People who are familiar with Excel, they know that there is this if formula that is available. So I'm going to add another column, and I would just say order type. And I want the column to be order quantity. If the order quantity is 1, the output should be single item. And then I can add another clause, and I can say else if the order quantity is greater than 1, then it should say multiple items, right? So far this is comprehensive because we've only seen this 1, 2, and 3, but even then, if there's anything weird, we can just say others. And I'm going to click OK. When I do this, you'll see there's another column that has been added, and it's a conditional column. And you can see that Power BI automatically generates the syntax. It has its own programming language, and you need not worry about this when you're doing these kind of basic functionalities. So very simple. You can easily put conditional columns, right? So that you are able to slice and dice into the data when you do visualizations, right? So one of the things that I always emphasize is you should know what you want to achieve so that you could do those changes in backend, and then those can get reflected in your front end, right? So planning what your output is going to be is very important. Okay, so let's just check this to see if there's anything unusual. And again, it shows list may be incomplete. I'm just going to click load more so that it checks everything, and it shows that okay, there's single item and multiple items only. There's nothing unusual, nothing weird, so we can be happy about it. So now that we have done all of these basic things that we needed, we can close and apply and go back to our main front end. So now we are going to look through a complicated area, right? Now, let us look at some basic visualizations, right? I'm going to pick up a matrix visualization, which is nothing but a table kind of a visualization, because I think yesterday somebody asked, can you also show tables? So let's add a matrix visualization. When you add a matrix visualization, I'm just going to close these for now because I don't need this. I'm just going to expand this a little bit so that it's visible. Okay, when you add a matrix visualization, what happens? It's going to show you a table. So for example, I want to look at the order quantity. So I'm just going to click order quantity, and it is going to show me that the number of orders are 45,314. Fine. If I were to use the same table and I would have picked up, okay, show this to me by product key, right? Product key could be a serial number, an identifier, something like that. So I'm just going to say, show this to me by product key. And it just threw this in the values section. We don't want this to appear in the values section. We want this in the rows section. So I'm just going to drag it here, and it's going to show in the rows section. You can see that this is the product key, and this is the order quantity, right? But if I give this to an end user, he will not be able to make any sense out of it. And he would really want to see that what really is the name of this product, right? So what we can do is, now that we have also loaded another table which has the details of products, we can add the products, right? So let's say from this visualization, I remove the product key or the serial number. I don't want that. Instead, I want the product name, right? So I'm just going to drag the product name in the rows column. But now you will see there's something weird has happened. It is showing me all the product names, but it's showing me the total of order quantity, but not the product name, right? Which means that there's something wrong, right? So let's investigate what really went wrong. If you go to the relationship section, you will see that there are 3 isolated tables here, but they are not connected, right? So which means that there is no way for BI to identify what this, for example, this product key, what's the backup information for this product key. We have a separate table for products, we have a separate table for customers, but there's no way for BI to identify or create a relationship between the two, right? So how do you connect tables, right? So let's just look at a small example. But before I give you that example or how do you go about it, it's very important to understand a basic concept. In business intelligence or in databases, there are two types of tables. One would be your data table, right? Where your data is sitting. In this situation, sales is our data table, or the table in which our facts are mentioned, right? That how much sales was done, what was the product key, which customer bought it. This is my data table, right? And apart from the data table, you would have lookup tables or master tables, right? Now, the important thing to understand here is a master table will have the product key or the serial number appearing only once because it's a unique ID. Same goes for customer, right? You will have that number appearing only once, the customer key or the customer ID. However, when you look at our fact table, you will see that the customer information or the product information can appear numerous times because the same product can be sold over and over and over again. The same customer can come to you several times and place different orders, right? So it's very important to establish when you are creating relationships, what is your product and what is your customer master, right? Okay, so how do you connect the two tables, right? So you will go into your modeling section and you will select this manage relationships. Okay, so there's one very smart feature available within Power BI, which is called auto detect. 95% of the times BI is correct, but sometimes BI will screw up. So let us try to do this auto detect, and then we'll also see how do you do it manually also. So if I click auto detect, what it's going to do is it will say I found two relationships. And when I close this, it says that I connected the sales and the customer data, and I connected the sales and the products data, right? And when this happens, you will see that there are two lines that will start appearing here, right? So what it has done is it has connected the products data with the sales table. It has also connected the customers data with the sales table. And when you hover your mouse here, it's going to show you which field it has used to connect, right? So in the sales table, the identifier is the product key or the serial number, and the same serial number appears here, which gives the details of the products. Similarly, in customer master, when you hover your mouse, you will see customer key is the field which has been connected, right? So one simple way to establish these relationships is to use auto detect. Now, let me show you what output it brings. When I go back to this, you will now see this makes sense because now BI has been able to establish the relationship between those two tables because product name is appearing or coming from one table and order quantity is coming from another table, right? So this is how, just to give you an idea, we could do another matrix, similar matrix, right? But before I do that, let me just delete this customer relationship. Let me delete this, okay? So that you will see what really goes wrong when you do not have that relationship, right? So when it gets deleted, you will see that when I use the sales table to throw in the order quantity, right? It again shows me 45,000, but now I want to see it by customer. So when I go by customer and I put the customer's full name in the rows, it again does the same thing, right? And in order to avoid this, what I really need is I need to establish a relationship, right? So I could again go to manage relationships. And this time I'm not going to do an auto detect. I'm going to say new. And I'm going to say, I want to connect my sales table with my customers table. And intelligently, what BI has done is it has grayed out these things, right? That it has picked up that this is the identifier or connecting field which BI was able to detect on its own, right? So we are just going to say, okay, and you will see another line coming up here. So you're just going to say close, and you will see that another line of relationships will start appearing, right?
Shazir, for this
Yes.
to work, do you have to have the same column names?
you need to have the same column names, but it's not really necessary. The content must be same. It's not necessary. What happens is if you have the same column names, it becomes easier for BI to detect, but it's not really a mandatory thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So now that you are able to establish the relationship between the two and you are able to see what advantage it brings, right? If you are using sources, if you're using multiple sources of data, one being your fact and one being your master, how do you connect the two, right? This is a very common application that a lot of people will have, whether whether you are in retail business, whether you're doing a B2B or a B2C, this has a lot of applications. Okay, so now what we are going to do next is, let us try to make things a little more complicated. Okay, and now that we are going to go into a little more complicated area, if you feel that you do not understand anything, feel free to interrupt in between and I can address your question. Okay, now we are going to do a little bit of complicated stuff. Okay, let us go to my sales tab. In my sales, in the table section, I'll go to my sales table. And when I see here, I can see that I have my order quantity here, right? And I know which product it belongs to because I have the product key also, right? But what I do not have at the minute is how much money did the business make, right? I can only see the number of orders, right? How do I use the relationship that I've established recently effectively to come up with answers, right? So what I can do now is, let's try to do a calculated field in which I'll try to calculate what was the revenue or what was the turnover the business generated, right? I know my order quantity, right? I know that my price of the product is within my products table somewhere, right? So it should be fairly easy for me to establish what is my turnover. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, within the table tools, and make sure that you've selected the sales table here. In the table tools, you are going to say new column. What I want to do is, I want to bring the product price within the sales table itself instead of referring back and forth. So I'm just going to say price. But how do I bring the price? In order to bring the price, people who are familiar with Excel, they know that there's a command called VLOOKUP, right? What a VLOOKUP does is it picks up a key field and it refers to another table and brings back the value, right? In BI, it is very simple. There is a command called related. When you select related, what it's going to do, it is going to automatically start giving you fields, right? Now, what I want to do is, I want to get the price. So what I'm going to do is I'll start by typing the table's name, the products table, and you will see that it's automatically starting to give me fields, right? So what I want to do is, I want that the product price starts appearing for the product which is mentioned in the product key. So I'll just click enter. And what it's going to do is, it is going to use the product key, which we used to create the relationship. And it does something very similar to a VLOOKUP and brings the price of this product from the products table, right? In my view, this is even simpler than using VLOOKUP. But important thing to note here is, the related command will only work if you have established the relationships just the way we did here, right? So that BI knows where to look, right? So this is the first thing that you can do. Let us try to do another column, right? Now I want to do this, that I know how much quantity was bought and what was the price. So I can just do a simple multiplication and identify how much money did I make, right? So I'm again going to select my sales table, and I'm going to table tools. I will just say new column. And I'm going to name this column revenue. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for order quantity, right? Multiplied by price, right? Now I'm going to pick up this sales 2017 price because it's within the same table. And once I do this, it is going to calculate for me what was the amount of money or the revenue that was generated. We can just do a sense check. My order quantity here is 1, my price is 2049, so my revenue is also 2049. Let's look at some place where my revenue is not one quantity, right? We can just say, let's do a filter and let's look at that only. Let's look at say 2, just to check, right? So my quantity here is 2, my price that I fetched from the other table is 25, and my revenue is 49. So now that I've established that the formula is working fine, I can select everything and go back to my original shape, right? So that is how you can add calculated fields, right? You could do that. You could do also additional things. For example, you can calculate the profit earned also by, again, using the related command, pulling in the cost from the products table and doing again a multiplication and then doing a subtract. So you could do whatever you want to achieve, right? Whatever you intend to show in your final visualization. So you could do all these type of calculations and calculated columns. Now, to calculate or to actually do these calculated columns, it is very important that you know a little bit of DAX, right? Now, there are a lot of tutorials also for which I'm going to give you links till the end, and in your free time, you can always go back and explore all of this, right? So just this is probably giving you an idea about how do you do calculated columns. Okay.
Hasib, would you be able to show us the relationship, how to link the relationship in the tables again?
You mean this one?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So let us do this way, that let's delete these relationships. Okay, let's delete this. And let's delete this also, right? Now, again, to reiterate, whenever you have to do relationships, it is very important to identify that one of the tables or whatever tables you are using to show your facts, there's always going to be a data table or a fact table. In this situation, in this illustration, the sales table is our fact table or the data table where my results are captured. But there will always be a lookup table, which is a master. It could be a product master, it could be a customer master, right? So in order to ensure that your things work seamlessly across the board, you have to create relationships between these two. There's one very simple and easy way to create relationships, which works 90% of the time, is you go to manage relationships and say auto detect, right? So this is one way of doing it. When you do it, BI automatically identifies the relationship. And when you go back, you will see that it has created the relationship. And when you hover the mouse, you will see that the relationship has been created by the yellow highlighted fields, which are the common fields between the two data sets. Similarly, it's here as well, right? So you could do an auto detect, or you could do a manual one. Let's delete this one and let's try to do this manually. Okay, so I'm going to go to manage again, and I'm going to say new instead of auto detect. What do I want to connect? I want to connect my sales table with my products table, and BI will automatically pick up the key field which it deems the most appropriate to connect, right? it could be, see, 90% of the times it's going to pick up the correct field. But sometimes if your headers are different, it will not pick up, but you can do that on your own. So you can just pick up this or this. In this case, this is this one that we want to pick up, right? So I'm just going to say okay. And it added another one, and I will close. And you will see that there is a relationship that is being created now, right? All right, okay. So now that we have done some basics, we have done some basic calculations, we have done a little bit of manipulation, it's time to do some more visualizations. We are going to do some visualizations, and let us delete this. There was one question yesterday, how do I delete a visualization? It's very simple. Select, and you can delete, press delete on your keyboard, right? You can press delete on your keyboard, right? So let us now try to build a dashboard with the information that we have. I'm going to do an insert here, and I'm just going to insert a text box here. And within the text box, I'm just going to say ABC Corporation sales report for the year ended, or for the period XXX, right? So we could do that, and you can increase the font size. Let's say I'm just going to do 24, right? And then you can just extend this, right? This is just a header for your report purposes, right? Okay, fine. So now what you can also do is you can just when you select this, you will see a format box starts appearing, right? So you can just amend the background. For example, I don't want the background to be white. I want the background to be a little blue. So I can do blue. I want this not in black, but I want this in white. So I can just do white. Okay, this looks a little weird. Let's change the background color to something more appropriate. Let's pick up a darker color so it's visible. Okay, so that's the header. That's how you put a header. Okay, now let's start with some basic visualizations again, right? So we have already seen visualizations that will start appearing, right? Now let us pick up this stacked bar chart. When you select a visualization, it throws in an empty box, right? What do I want to see? I want to see my orders. So I'm just going to say my order quantity. I'm going to select this and throw this in the values area of that visualization, right? And I want the products also appearing. So I will go here, select the products, and I will say the product name, and I'm going to drop this here. Okay. Now you can see that the product names have started appearing, right? And the quantity has also started appearing. What you can do next is you select this and you go to your format section, and you can add the data label so that it starts showing you the numbers, right? Within this, you can also select the data colors. And if you do not want this, you could perhaps select a darker color. Or there's one more thing which is a bit fancier, which you can do. Is to create conditional formatting or a color thingy. What you can do is you can select this FX icon here. And when you do that, it opens up another window. Just give it a couple of seconds. It is going to give you a color scale, and it's going to do it on the basis of order quantity. I want the lowest values to be the lightest color, and I want the highest values to be the darkest color. Let me pick up a little darker color. And when you do this, you will see that it changes, right? It starts showing the darker ones in a darker color to put more emphasis, and the lighter ones are a bit lighter. So you can do that. You're free to choose the colors, whatever you feel match with your corporate scheme of colors, but this is just for illustration purposes. Okay, so this is the first bit that you can do. Now, one of the things that within a visualization that starts appearing is when you hover your mouse, it shows you what's the product name and what's the order quantity. Without playing too much with this chart, if I want to show more information within the same chart, what I can do is on the right hand side, you will see there's this thing called tooltips. Tooltips is the section where you can show additional information, right? For example, I want to show how much money did the business make on a certain product, right? So within the tooltips, I'm just going to drop in revenue. And what happens is when you now hover your mouse, you'll see additional revenue also starts appearing, right? So you're giving more information without changing too much in your graph, right? Okay, very simple to do, but it adds a lot of information and also keeps you know, it does not really overcrowd your chart, but it also it starts giving you more information, right? Okay. Now let's say I want to show some more critical information or key information in a glance to someone who is reviewing my report. There's one visualization called a card. When you click the card, what exactly is the nature of this? It basically shows you one single piece of information which gives you an overall or an aggregate picture. For example, I'm sharing this report with somebody and he wants to know in a glance that how much money did the business make as a whole. So what can be done is in this, you will see that there's only one section for fields. I'm just going to select revenue. And what it does is in one box, it shows me what's the total revenue that the business made, right? Okay. So this is this is another good feature that you have when you want to show some key highlights. For example, what's the total revenue? What's the profit? How many orders did we were we able to satisfy? For example, let's add another card, right? And this time, let's just connect the orders instead of revenue. So I'm just going to say my order quantity. So I'm just going to select order quantity and it will start showing me order quantity. So 45,000 orders were selected and were fulfilled. Okay, fine. Another thing that you can also do is you can show, for example, if you want to show some key information about the top performing products. Let's say you want to show top 5, top 10, you could do things like that. For example, if I were to add another card here, right? And I just drop in, let's pick up a multi-row card instead, right? A multi-row card is the one in which you are able to show multiple pieces of information instead of just one piece of information. So let's say in a multi-row card, I want to show what are the products which made the most money. For example, I'm just going to say revenue, right? And I'm going to pick up the product name. So I'm just going to select product name also. So it's going to start showing me all the products, but I don't want to see all of these products. Instead, I only want to see the products which are top 5 or top 2 or the top 1 product that made me the most money, right? So what you can do is, after you've selected this visualization, I'm just going to close all of this for simplicity. There is one section called filters. Now within the filters, you will see that there are a lot of places, a lot of functionalities. Filters on this visual means any filters that you want to apply will affect only this visual. Filter on page means any filter that you apply to this section will apply to everything. And filters on all pages means that any other pages that you add in this report will have the same filter applied, right? So in this case, I do not want everything to be appearing. I only want the top product which is appearing, right? So what I can do is I will go to this filters on visual, and I will say filter type. Instead of basic filtering, I want top N, right? I want the top one item, for example. But how does BI identify which item, right? So from your fields, I want to show that item which made me the most money. So I'm going to pick up revenue from here and drop it here. So you will see after I click apply filter, the discard changes to only one item, which is my top one item. I could change this to top 5 items and apply filter, and it will start showing me top 5 items, right? I can show top 2 items, I can pick up apply filter, right? So that's an idea. For example, if you only want to look at your top performing or lowest performing, right? So just the way you have top, you have also bottom. So when you pick up bottom, the bottom first, I'm just going to pick up apply, and it's going to show me that this racing socks were probably the ones on which we made the least money, right? So for now, let's keep it top, and I'm just going to apply it, right? So this is my top or top performing item, right? Okay, let's do a little bit of formatting so that it becomes a little more visible. I'm going to go here and let us go to title. Sorry, my bad. I should have gone to category. And I want to just increase the font size to, let's say, 16, right? So that it looks a little big. Okay, so just to give you an idea how the filtering part works, right? Now, let us try to do another thing which is a little bit more fancier, but it is very useful. Let us try to add another page here. And let us name this page product, right? So let us try to put in a visual for a product. I'm just going to drop in a line chart here. And from the fields, I'm just going to pick up the, rather not products, from sales. I'm just going to pick up the orders, right? Or let's pick up revenue, it's fine. We can pick up revenue, right? And now it's showing me a single dot, but I want to look at the revenue over the course of time. So I'm going to drop in date also, right? So let us pick up the order date. So I'm just going to select order date also. And when I select date, it starts showing me year, quarter, month, day. I want to look at by day, let's say, right? So this is revenue by day. For example, on a daily basis, this is my revenue. And let's just do a little bit of formatting and let us add data labels so that it shows me the values here, right? Now, we could also add another slicer here. And I can pick up the day name, right? For example, in retail business, what day of the week has performed the best is sometimes a question, right? So for example, I only want to look at all the Fridays, how the Fridays look like, right? So it's just going to show me a seasonality or how a Monday looks like, right? So again, this is just for illustration purposes. It really depends on what you want to look at. So there's one more thing that you can also do within this is within this line chart, you are able to see that it's showing you by day, right? What if you wanted to project or predict what is going to happen after this, right? What is going to be a forecast revenue for all the products? So I'm just going to say I'm going to select this filter and I'll go to analytics section, which is right after the format section. And in this, I can add a trend line. And I add a trend line, it just adds a line that, okay, you know, the revenue is declining, right? There's another thing that you could also add, which is a forecast line. So when you add a forecast line, it is going to create another section here that, okay, the forecast looks stagnant, right? I want to do 10 more periods and I want to keep a 95% confidence into it, right? So again, this is just a gimmicky feature. If you feel that your data is on that level, it's going to actually show you a forecasted number also. It really depends on how your data is, right? So this is another feature that you could also have. Now, we're going to do another thing, which is going to help us connect the two reports together, right? For example, in the second page, I add a card here, and in the card, I'm just going to drop in the product name. Right? So it just started showing me the first product that appears in my data, right? And there's no connection between these two as of now. So what we can do also is within the filters section, right? Or not, rather within the filters section, there is a drill through section, right? In the drill through section, what we can do is we can just drop in the name of this product. And once you see the next step, you'll understand why I'm doing this. You will just drop this product name here. And what it actually does is when you go here and you pick up a certain product, let's say I want to see water bottle, it adds another drill through box here and it takes you to product page. And see what it has done is it has changed the narration to water bottle and it started showing me the trend for water bottle, right? I can do another thing. I can go to, for example, this product, mountain bottle, and I'll right click and I'll go to drill through and select product. It will start showing me for mountain bottle cage and will start showing me the trend for that item in particular, right? So the reason this drill through option is available is business intelligence tools are actually encouraging, a self-service business intelligence report. For example, you share this with anyone and they are able to easily navigate between multiple reports, right? So this is the drill down functionality that is also available. So again, we covered a lot of visualizations yesterday, and the newer visualizations that we have covered, I think we've covered a little less on the visualizations, but we've tried to cover the additional features that are available, and we've tried to work more towards the data manipulation side. My personal belief is that if your data manipulation side is strong, doing visualizations becomes relatively easy because you know what you're looking for, and that's why you've amended the data accordingly, right? There's one last thing that I would want you guys to see before I go to the presentation mode again. There's one artificial intelligence feature, or it's a new visualization that Microsoft has recently started putting in. It is called the decomposition tree. Now, what this decomposition tree actually does is it helps you to do a root cause analysis of your data. For example, you want to look at the revenue, right? So for example, you want to look at revenue. So you're just going to select revenue and it's just going to show, okay, you made 9 million of revenue, right? But I want to elaborate this further and explain this further, right? So for example, I want this to be explained by customer, right? So I'm just going to drop in the customer's name here. So I will just drop this in explain by, right? When I do this, you will see that there's a little plus sign that starts appearing here. When I click this plus sign, BI asks me, do you want me to show you high to low or low to high? I am going to say, I want to see the top performing customers, right? So you can see that it started showing me that Mr. Franklin is the one who's bought the most goods, right? As compared to everybody else, right? Now, I want to go one level down. I want to understand what are the products that Franklin bought. So I can go to my product section here and drop in the product name in the explain by. So what happens again, you'll see another plus sign started appearing. So we'll click plus and I want to show high value items. It will start showing me high value items, right? Sorry, I think I messed up something. Let's just swap this. So full name and then the product name, right? Okay, fine. So you can identify. Now, for example, you want to go one level further and you want to identify, okay, Franklin bought this product the most, but what was the day which is his most favored day, for example? So you could, let's say, just drop in the day name here. And it's just going to add another field here that, okay, Franklin was buying the most on Sunday and second best was Wednesday. So this is just to give you an example or an illustration how this decomposition tree can work for you, right? So I think from a concept standpoint, this is it. I'm just going to go to the other things that I wanted to quickly talk about before we can do a quick Q&A. I would need probably another 2 minutes. So now what really you have to do after this, right? So once that, after these 2 days, I'm confident that you would have learned quite a lot after this, but what next? What should you do after this, right? So there are a lot of learning platforms which are available. Some are free, some are paid. So edX, Udemy, LinkedIn, or Microsoft's own website has a lot of tutorials to follow. There are a lot of YouTube channels on Power BI which have a lot of examples, a lot of illustrations that you can follow along. And the best way to learn Power BI is to play with your own data set. The information that you work on a day in, day out basis, it's probably the best investment of time that you can make, playing with your own data set to come up with answers. But what really happens is that when you start doing all of this, it takes a lot of time, a lot of investment of time. And some of the people would probably lose hope and give up. But my suggestion would be that you have to continue to practice and practice and practice. And that is why you will become perfect. That is how you'll become perfect when it comes to Power BI. And as I said earlier in my day one presentation, this is becoming the go-to tool for a lot of employers also, and for a lot of businesses also. So this is a very key skill, I would say, and you should always endeavor to learn this. So these are the YouTube channels that I was referring about. You could probably take a screenshot, or you'll get a PowerPoint copy of this also. So there are a lot of tools. The one that normally a lot of people use is Guy in a Cube. This is a very informal kind of a channel which gives you a lot of examples, and it has probably the second lowest number of subscribers after Microsoft. So it's a good channel. I also try and follow this whenever I need help. So I think from my end, that's about it. I will just hand over back to Vishal.
I would now like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to Shahzaib for his time and sharing his knowledge, to all our participants for attending and making this webinar a success, and the institutions for supporting us.